G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the Fijian Drua has, fought a pretty brutal battle against the Crusaders at home in Fiji. This was in front of the HFC Bank Stadium. I really like this stadium. This the ocean and the beach in the background, and overall it just feels like a holiday, party spot. Looks like a lot of fun there, and huge turnout of faithful Fijian fans, and lots of Crusaders fans there as well. Big day out. I think there was another stadium. I think it's called the Churchill Park. Yeah, I don't really like that one nearly as much as this one. I think they should play at this HFC Bank Stadium more often in Fiji. But with that aside, great energy from the crowds. But yeah, the Fijian Drua faithfuls probably not going to be happy with this result. 14 points to 31. The Crusaders pretty much had the upper hand for 65 minutes of the match. For the Druas to come back in a desperate attempt to get some points on the board late in the second half, just wasn't quite enough to get there. I think the referee, Ben O'Keefe, oh boy, he had a pretty shocking performance last time he was on the field, and I don't know, he's really gotten worse since his performances from last year, especially noticeably worse nowadays. Again, there were some decisions on the field tonight. I just don't know. It left me scratching my head, left me literally going through the law books and making sure that things hasn't changed since the last time I looked at it. This was bad. And also, why is there a Kiwi referee in this game when you could just put an Australian guy in there and have a much, a neutral perspective on the field? I think that this was definitely a poorly planned by Super Rugby to have Ben O'Keefe. That's a Kiwi referee on the in a match where one of the team is New Zealanders. But hey, let's have a look at some of these hair scratches from the decisions that he made today, and maybe you can explain to me how these decisions came on about, right? So this one here, Cody Taylor taking out a player going to the ruck. I've seen a lot of teams do this nowadays. I think Crusaders actually scored a try. One of the tries later on actually scored from what's his name, Moananu. The hooker scored a try actually because Raul Tamanda was taken out at the fringes of the ruck, leaving a gap open in the blind side. So definitely should not be allowed. And this is people with teams are doing this more and more often. And this was just very blatant one. Cody Taylor running in, shoulder to a player at the ruck, that probably could be considered for a yellow card. There might have been a bit of a head contact here. No arm whatsoever. Not even legal as a clean out. I thought this could have been a yellow card because not illegal at all, coming from the side of the ruck as well. Just completely trying to take out the player to contest the ruck, the breakdown, or it's should just that's nowhere legal at all. And the referee's right there looking at it. I guess he just turned a blind eye to that. It's so they tried to play on. The player was down on the ground. Basically they couldn't play on. The referee was hurrying everyone to play on. Basically they couldn't play on, and forcing the TMO to have a look at what happened. And then the referee said it's just a penalty, right? I mean, this was never legal, and potentially there was some contact to the head as well. I think it should be a yellow card TMO review, to be honest. So that's one was really, really bad. And then the next one, this one has left me scratching my head a bit as well. I had to actually check the law book on this one, so there's more. The ball is being passed to the halfback. Halfback's got his hand on the ball, and the Drua player slaps the ball out of the halfback's hand. I don't know how that's legal. It's like slapping the ball out of opponent's hand is generally considered foul play, penalty. And just think about this as well. Even if this wasn't a penalty, should be a knock on, right? Hello. I don't know what's going on. There's two referees here just yep, didn't say anything, guys. Saw nothing going on there. Again, and then this one here as well. So there was a nice kick through from Fijian Drua, lots of pressure for the ball. It looked like Will Jordan took the ball back in field to ground the ball. Yeah, look like it's been taken back, right? It should be a 5-meter scrum. Ben O'Keefe came in and said, nope, it's a goal line dropout. He said that Will Jordan did not touch the ball until he was actually past the try line and then grounded the ball. So, first of all, let's have a look at this, okay? This is so bad, right? So, he's already on the ground here and it's still like 3 meters away, right? Apparently, he hasn't touched the ball here, right? And then he's grounded the ball on the try line. Now, yeah, sorry, guys, just an update on the Will Jordan video. I didn't really explain it properly in my initial release, so this is a bit of an update on what actually is the problem that I was trying to explain. So the game states that ball on the ground, no tackle, Lot 14, is that the game is to be played by players who are on their feet, which is, everybody knows this. A player must not make the ball unplayable by falling down. Unplayable means that the ball is not immediately available to either team so that play may continue. In addition, a player who makes the ball unplayable or who obstructs the opposition team by falling down is negating the purpose and spirit of the game and must be penalized. So Will Jordan sliding in front of the ball, blocking the Fijian player from potentially grounding the ball for a try or picking the ball up before the try line, is actually obstructing the ball, especially because he did not touch the ball as Ben O'Keefe had indicated on field and only grounded the ball after the ball had gone past the try line. So he was actually not in possession of the ball, sliding on the ground and causing an obstruction to the opposition team, and that should be the grounds for a penalty try. So, penalty try should have been given. And a yellow card, by the way. But hey, Ben O'Keefe, really, really poor performance once again this week. But let's have a talk about the teams that was performing tonight. So the Crusaders last week had some pretty poor physicality issues, pretty poor defensive, and really, really bad at the breakdown contest, was just conceding a lot of meters. This week came in, they definitely improved that a lot. The breakdown was just hammered this whole game. The Fijian Drua was losing a lot of turnovers. The forward momentum was just, from the post contacts, from the forwards piling through, was there as well. The defense was much better by the Crusaders as well, holding up the attack before the advantage line, and much better than last week. That was letting players through, and then just really clever kicking game from the Crusaders as well, keeping the ball deep and then keeping the Honduras pinned deep inside their own half constantly. And they're not really aiming at kicking it out sometimes. They just want to ping it deep close to your try line and make you run it out if you want to. It's kind of like a catch-22 sort of thing. You either kick it or you run it in a bit of an awkward spot. So that was really good from Crusaders. There was a weird 64-meter penalty goal attempt from Finghaki from the Crusaders. I did not know that it was going to kick this far, but it must be a big wind or something behind him. 64 meters, yeah, plenty of. He probably kicked this 80 meters. The ball probably went 80 meters. Didn't quite get the accuracy, but it was super impressive. For the Honduras, I thought, the attack line, it's a bit of a 50-50 awkward spot. So the attacking line from the Honduras are not structured enough to create space for, to be, it's not really like a structured enough to be a move, sort of like a set move that creates space by design, but yet it's not really chaotic enough for the opposition to become unpredictable for the opposition to read. So it's been a middle of a bit of an awkward situation where the players are really just kind of like, going, just kind of like just throwing passes, and then it was very easy to read, and the Crusaders were able to just shut this down all week, all game, all the way to about maybe 15 minutes left on the clock. Then the Honduras finally started to get more looser on their structure and was more successful at finding some space and then scoring the 3 tries in my opinion, scoring the tries that was that resulted towards a flurry of tries at the end of the game. So they actually become more looser in their attack, and then they found success. Whereas the whole game they were not quite structured enough to create anything, yet not quite loose enough to become unpredictable, where like they did in the end of the game. So they're just in this middle ground where, yeah, it was just easily shut down by the Crusaders defense, something that they need to look at a little bit. The goal kicking is definitely a lot better for the Endurers. And then I think the one big problem, glaring problem, is defense around the rocks. Very few players was marking the rock, pillar and post, and the Crusaders just a bit of heads up rugby, pick and go, and was able to get a lot of value out of that for themselves. But yeah, something for you guys to look at and something for the coaches to think about. Yeah, let's have a look at the match stats. 2 tries for Endurers to the 5 Crusaders, 403 run meters to the Crusaders, 309 or more run meters to the Endurers. 25 turnovers conceded. This is what I'm talking about. The breakdown was just not there. 20 against the Crusaders. Some handling errors mostly from the Crusaders there. 86 tackles made for the Endurers. 13 missed tackles. 191 tackles made for the Crusaders. 21 missed tackles for them. 23 kicks in play for the Endurers. 34 for the Crusaders. Like I said, the Crusaders really aiming at those long-range kicks, resulting in 1,044 kick meters to the 663 for the Endurers. Really, like, that's the game plan, just pinging the Endurers down deep inside their own half all day. 6 line-out loss from the Endurers as well, especially in the first half, struggled quite a bit. The Crusaders wasn't that clean either. 3 line-outs lost out of 11. 1 scrum loss for the Endurers, 9 for the Crusaders. I thought Endurers did really good against the Crusaders overall in the scrummaging. I mean, the Crusaders had, like, All Blacks, starting, scrummages out there, and the Endurers only lost 1, so it wasn't too bad at all. 5 penalties considered, really good discipline for the Endurers. 8 for the Crusaders. Overall, not too bad for either teams, but it is just, it is what it is, and yeah, so let's have a quick look at some of the points summary for the game. So yeah, it took about 3 minutes for the Crusaders to get the first try on the ball. Actually, quite fast and furious with the penalty. Went the line out, went for the more. Some good defense from the Drua and more, but the ball just kind of like went wide, and then a bit of a loopy cut out pass to Noah Hotham running to the corner. 7 points to 0. 18 minutes into the game, there was some quick pick and go from Sevu Rees around the rock. A nice offload to Noah Hotham, got through it pretty close. Lots of parting pressure, and eventually the ball went out. Good hands to Xiao Foon, going for the try. 12 points to 0. 20 minutes into the game, again, some nice draw and pass from the Crusaders. When Will Jordan, again, just finding some, heads up rugby, matching his defenders, pass out wide to Fihaki, and then he just cut back in field. Nice little run for the try. 17 points to 0 going into at halftime. Just before halftime, 64-meter penalty attempt by Fihaki. That was really impressive, to be honest. Second half starts. Second half, there took about 55 minutes on the clock for the Crusaders to get the next try on the board. Again, Will Jordan got the ball out wide. Little chip over the top. Springer gets the follow through and gets the dock down with speed. 24 points to 0. 63 minutes into the game, the Crusaders had nice and pick and go, pounding through. They're like I said, what's his name? Raul Talmanda was actually taken out here on the blind side, so he couldn't defend this. And then Moananu just picked the ball up, ran around the blind side into the corner. The hooker gets his try. Yeah, I didn't think this was legal. I thought it was, again, taking player out who was around the fringe of the ruck. 31 points to 0. 65 minutes of the game. Finally, the Drua starting to play more reckless, reckless abandoned style rugby. Marcy did a bit of grabber kick behind, and the Rabutu gets the follow through and then runs through for the try. 7 points to 31. 68 minutes of the game. Another quick play from the Druas. There was a quick line from Ravula, threw it to himself, and then he passed to the Wildkard. The big guy from the big forward. He ran through like 4 defenders, and then James O'Connor coming up to tackle him. He just juked him, just completely juked Rabbit and going for the try. 14 points to 31. And then, 71 minutes. I thought Will Jordan should have been a penalty try if the referee's decision was that he didn't touch the ball until the ball went over the try line and then grounded it. He was on the ground, should be out of play, and should be a penalty try. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good weekend. Cheers.